You see the titles? This is a glazing video with full-on bias. If you are Changli main, I hope you enjoy the glazing that will happen. If you are wanting to somewhat familiarize with her because you just got her recently, okay, maybe not recently, but like almost a month ago? Or you don't have her but want to get her for a certain upcoming character that I heard had an insane synergy with her. I hope that you would get something like certain characteristic in her kit or what to watch out from this video. Changli is a premium quick swap unit. A playstyle that has existed alongside Hyper Carry ever since the game has launched. But it's not as prevalent or at the very least, not as popular as Hyper Carry due to slightly higher skill ceiling, a bit more complicated to understand, a bit more convoluted game plan, and most of Hyper Carry has absurdly high damage ceiling. I mean, look at Cangli, small altar and waifu fight Batman over here.
Back in the years old days of 1.0, there is one premier quick swap unit. We all know him, the GOAT, the honored one, Mr. Calculus.
Oh wait, wrong picture. There we go, a bit better. I will not be discussing Calculator Man in details since a lot has already done that, and not to mention I also did a video on how to potentially buff him. But Quickswap playstyle kinda started by him as it is a requirement if you want to play him well. Calcified bulk of damage comes from him landing 3 totally not Sephiroth stabbing air reference attacks. A move that is pretty much uncancelable on startup, and from this animation to this animation, he is completely vulnerable to enemy attack. Your only defensive input is to change to another characters on death percentage startup. Then swap back to Cellulose as soon as you can swap back to him to continue with the business. This format will serve as a foundation, for the lack of better terms, for quick swap for presumably both players and developers. If you see any attack that has a long animation with a sizable amount of frame that you can't input anything or influence it, it is very likely that you are looking at a swap cancelable attack. By the way, swap cancel doesn't have to be with just uncancelable attack. You can swap cancel with any move in this game. Wait, why do it feels like I'm getting off topic again? เพราะว่าคุณมันกำลังออกทะเลครับผม Oh! One of the lead designers in Encore probably saw this entire sequence and during alpha and beta test and said, what if we make this entire shtick into a characters? And thus, Changli was created. Changli is hot. Changli is, as we established, a wife. While she is listed as main damage dealer in the game, her damage per screenshot isn't that crazy when compared to other damage dealer, but that isn't a problem. You see, Changli is what we would call a burst damage dealer. でも、バーストアタッカーが一つの一撃で相手に超高いダメージを与えるじゃないですか、先輩。Yes, traditionally, but Changli is a bit of a special case. However, before we get to how she is a bit of a special case, let's do a quick rundown of how she works. Changli has a big boob, a big nuke on her forte, and how do we get to this donk? Why can't you just let me be a little horny? Humanity being horny is what keeps our race alive to this point, you know? How does she get to this big nuke? She has to have 4 stacks of inflammates. How does she get inflammate? By doing these attacks. How to get to these attacks? By input jump or attack after these animation. As you can see, her damage comes in a rather small but frequent enough burst. 8 times to be exact before she would put out a massive nuke. These small bursts are what make her a bit special when compared to the usual definition of burst damage dealer. Because of her burst damage is spread through a one rotation of... Wait, is it one rotation? Let's just call it one rotation. Of Flaming Sacrifice. The problem of not high enough damage per screenshot is rendered into a nothing burger. それなら、チョリ先生がバーストアタッカーじゃなくて DPS アタッカーじゃないんですか? That's a good point you're bringing up, Shinjin. In practice, she feels more like a DPS unit than a burst damage unit. But that is also what makes her special. She also has the potential to be hyper carry unit. I'm not saying it is optimal, but she can be one. She has been carrying my sorry ass with skill issue through pre-Carlotta and Brand. With that being said, if you are thinking about using her as a traditional hyper carry, prepare to learn a lot about her and realize how clunky it feels. Her skill cooldown is 12 seconds. Sure, she has 2 charges on her skill, but if you are even a little bit trigger happy with her skill, you will not have a good time playing her, as her resistance skill is pretty much a lifeline of her kit. It's kinda like if you play her as intended well, she will feel like a DPS unit disguised as burst damage unit. But the moment you play her as DPS hyper carry, her design flaw of burst unit will rear its ugly head for you to see. But let's not delve too much into the negativity, as this is a glazing video. One thing that I will commend Kuro for is an opportunity to express individuality through gameplay. Expressing yourself can mean a lot of things. Showing off and utilize obscure but really cool knowledge checks, making combo mad, pulling off crazy tech, etc, etc. Changli is no different. You can tell how good any Changli player is by watching them quick swapping. If they are consistently and only swap to another unit after initiating Flaming Sacrifice, they probably just got her or never really played with quick swap before. If they are constantly quick swap on True Sight Attack or Flaming Sacrifice startup, they are an average Joe or Jane that put some time into Changli like you and me. But if they quick swap on every single gap in her moveset, they probably have unlocked 100% of their brain and went beyond a mere mortal's understanding. Because oh lord, there are so many gaps! Said gaps are No Attack 4 startup, True Sight Conquest and True Sight Charge startup, Resonance Skill startup, Flaming Sacrifice startup. That's 5 separate instances of what I think is optimal time to quick swap her. Heck, they're probably even more like Normal Attack 3, but I don't think I'm skilled enough to do it. Normal Attack 3 into quick swap, back to basic 4, then quick swap, then back to Conquest Attack. And I don't know if it even is actually possible to pull that off. That's not all. 2 of her attack will actually displace her into mid-air, so when does the player quick swap can also be the indicator of their skill. If you swap at this point, the next resonator will be put into mid-air state and thus can do certain things and can't do others depending on characters. Her skill also works as a gap closer. This makes her skill even more valuable as you don't have to waste that much time chasing boss or elites in 2 or 3 dashes away range, conserving your stamina and your time in both DPS check game mode. And that's also one of the big reasons why you don't want to get caught lacking with her skill management.
But wait! There's more!
Her normal attack sequence is probably the best at parrying in all of sword user animation. Thanks to her slightly slower normal attack animation, so her normal attack hitbox linger a little bit longer than other sword users' normal attack, thus making it easier to parry with her. Or maybe every sword user attack has like same amount of parry frame, but Changli has a clearer indicator. And speaking of parry, she has a lot of good moves to parry other than her normal attack sequence. During this and this animation of her skill, this version of True Sight Attack, Flaming Sacrifice pretty much put a big ass hitbox around her. I don't know if it's active on frame 1 though. Hey, I didn't say she can trivialize parryable attack. I said it's easier to parry with those moves. It makes it easier, but you still have to get good, you know? But all this power comes at a price just like her lore. If I have a nickel for every hot colored half female mental character associated fire element equipped with massive milk and have shortened lifespan, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but weird it happened twice now. Where was I again? For all the offensive capability she has, her defensive game is on the underwhelming side of the spectrum. She has probably the worst iframe on dodge counter in the entire game. Her dodge counter is just her 3rd normal attack animation, and thus it has no iframe with it. She only have iframe on dodge, not the counter. It kind of messed up, to be honest. And once you start her 3rd basic attack from dodge counter, there is no going back, and I mean it. You can't just dash cancel all of this attack until she does this pose. So, the possibility of your Changli getting backshot during this spin is very real. This looks like a very down bad My brain is broken. The internet has ruined me. This looks like a very bad downside, right? But this is what you are wrong. Kinda. This is undeniably a downside, a disadvantage, a demerit, however you want to call it. But in my opinion, this is actually a really good downside. You see, she is the quick swap unit. her entire gameplay identity is all about quick swapping. And what is the universal take to all animation lock in Wuthering Waves? That's right, a character change. As soon as you input dodge counter, you can swap to another character and let her third normal attack animation plays out before swapping back to her. During this short time frame, you have way too many options to do. Dodge incoming attack with the next resonator, change to Verena, actually any healer works through, and have her gain some energy, change to Brand and do a quick spin, change to another unit of your choice, use that skill, then go back to Changli ASAP is also a very good option too. The limit is pretty much on your team, skill, dexterity, and creativity. But let's say you are a returning player that quit the game right around 1.1 and fortunately enough to get Changli, or you are a new player that just newly acquired Changli and you are out of funds to pull for another limited 5-star characters in both scenarios. What can you do with this hand you are being dealt with? Well, cope and seethe. I'm just kidding. You have to make a Changli hyper carry team as not optimal as it is going to be. These are your options for making her team. Quite a lot, right? You are literally spoiled with choice here. Honestly, I didn't think there would be this much character that you can pair her with. Back when I newly got her in 1.1, I was running her with Taoshi and one rotating members. It's either more Biffy or Baizi. Then I finalized with Changli, Morbius, and Verena before I got Brand because I love pressing buttons, and also come on, look at him! Can you really see I'm not gonna gay for him? All these choices are possible thanks to her well-designed kit, but make no mistake, these makeshift teams will not be performing at the same level as her premium team, both in terms of damage and field time. Yes, you heard me correctly, I said field time, not clear time. Because 4-star units generally have lower damage floor and ceiling, so Changli being the only 5-star damage dealer in the team, she will have to work overtime on the field work. In the premium team, most of the time you can get away with just swapping her in, use her skill, swap to another unit, then swap back to her to do true side attack, repeat this loop for 3 more times, and nuke, then repeat the process again. You have at least another unit that has respectable damage. That or those units can do their own thing while she is on 12 or 24 seconds cooldown, but 4-star units can't really provide that level of damage to comfortably cover her skill cooldown time, so you have to weave the entire normal attack string to get to her true side attack without using a skill. And now, it's time for some tips and tricks, or let's be honest here, trivial. Changli has something I would call an infinite combo. She also is one of the very few characters that can gain and utilize Forte stack without using special input, i.e. Resonance skill and Resonance Liberation. I'm not saying it is optimal, but it is cool that she can do it. Her 4th basic attack can be dash cancel to start through side faster. However, I'll leave it to you to judge if the practice time for you to get the timing down is worth it or not. Her intro skill, the one that she attack mid-air, can be cancelled. Wait, no, it's not cancel. Have another route that you can go for by holding normal attack button on her intro skill startup if you see her Forte stack is already full, so that you do not overcap or overflow her inflamement. However, this input isn't something you really want to do constantly or make it into a habit, due to it delay her decent chunk of damage by almost a second. But you don't really have to worry about should I cancel her intro or not. It shouldn't matter that much in a usual in-game content like TOA or WuWa, or maybe it really matter, but because my Changli is C2R1 with brand C0R1, so I think like that. However, if you are doing hologram with her, please consider cancel her intro skill frequently. You do not want her to dive headfirst into any attack from a high difficulty hologram bosses. Another caution or tips? Yeah, let's say caution. Beware of where do you use her skill, as this skill has some wacky, or accurate, it depends on your opinion, hitbox. Her skill will deal most of the damage during the and gap closing property on her skill only works on horizontal movement. If you use it when her location is significantly higher than the enemy, there is a high chance that you will whip her skill and lose a lot of her damage to the wind. Depends on the enemy size, of course. So please be careful with that. What do I want to talk about again? Her Resonant Liberation. Her ult will max out Forte gauge. Everyone who play her know this, and a lot of people try to maximize her nuke potential by trying to out right after Flaming Sacrifice. Don't worry, I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing this or this is the wrong way to do it. I'm not that insane to be a contrarian toward an objectively a good practice. However, I would recommend any new Changli players to do not fixate on maximizing Flaming Sacrifice too much. And don't hold on to her ult, just act according to the situation. If you want a bit of respite while you are panicking, just use it. It will give you quite a bit of breathing room to gather yourself. If you are in a situation like, let's say TOA boss HP is like 5%, the time is about to run out in like 3 seconds, your inflammation is at 3, but you don't have her skill up, just ult. It has 1200% multiplier, much higher than her skill or normals. If you misinput and use it when she has full 40, don't worry about that much. I understand it is embarrassing and the value is kinda lost on that, but you play her as the carry of the team. Her ult will be back faster than you think. You can skip this section entirely if you just want to use her as a part of the upcoming Mono Fire team, because it is about her resonant chain and we don't know whether horizontal investment or vertical investment will be equally good or not in the future. But if you like Changli and want to use her as long as possible, I hope you can get something out of this section. Her C1 is more or less a quality of life improvement than damage improvement. If you find yourself getting knocked around or isn't comfortable with swap cancel to avoid damage, feel free to get this chain. C2 is what I consider as the first good stopping point. It just straight up gives her a 25% crit rate with 100% uptime. With this chain, you can consider opting for a crit damage on cost 4 echo for more damage potential. However, your rotation has to be on point as she has to do conquest attack every 8 seconds. Chain 3 to 6 just translate to more damage, but if you want her to have a longevity, I suggest you to stop at chain 4, as it turns her into a damage dealer and support unit. Even if she got power creep in terms of damage, she will always have a spot on your team just because she gives your entire team a 20% attack buff. And for her weapon, if you can afford it, go for it. It boosts her damage substantially, but if you can't, Emerald of Genesis still work. I don't know if she would lose pool value outside of Mono Fire team, because Life Service Game and Power Creep has a symbiotic relationship. They have to one-up themselves to make a profit, and we don't know if HP inflation that is bound to happen would get out of hand to the point it reached Star Rail level of cost the fuck or not. But if you see Changli gameplay and think, wow, her gameplay looks really fun, I highly recommend to pull for her. Even after I got Zani and Carlotta, Changli is still my favorite unit to play as, simply because she is really fun. Also, she's very hot. And that's all I have to say about my main in Wuthering Waves. Thank you so much for watching until this point. I hope this video will be worth your time. I wish you a good night and a great day ahead of you. May you never get an off-rate item in any of your gacha. Hope to see you again in the next video. Bye bye!